Hi guys and girls, Jeff here, JetSurf Wave Riders. Little topic here, leashes. A lot of people asking about what do I use for a leash. Well, I've got a couple of different options. I use just a typical boogie boarders leash if I'm just going out in small waves, and I would connect that to my handle. If it does seem to be that actually you can take quite I don't think it's the weight of the board putting on the leash, but if you've got a wave pulling the board away from you, you're laying in the water and the wave is pulling the board, that seems to be when the strain, the displacement of this whole surface area of the board being pushed by the wave and then it being attached to you. That seems to be the biggest problem. So I don't think this advice changes whether you've got an electric surfboard which is 30 kilos or a JetSurf that is the 20 kilos with fuel. I think it's the same pretty much. It doesn't really make much difference. So this boogie boarders leash is probably actually fine. Connecting it to the handle here, because these handles are nice and strong on your board. I connect it to the opposite one to my foot strap, how I stand, and then I would have it to the bicep of my front arm, the same arm that I will be using to control my throttle with, which actually for me is the right arm. Actually, if I'm doing the racing, I'd say that this boogie boarders leash attached to the string is probably better for you, and even a shorter boogie boarders leash if you're doing racing. So I wouldn't actually attach the handle ever I wouldn't actually attach the leash ever to your handle, because I think that you're looking to cause a problem with your handle or break the handle or break the connections for the for the magnet for the switching. But you could connect to this rope, this string, so you could connect a short boogie boarders leash up here, and then if you do fall down in your racing, at least you're going to be quick back to your handle. I think if you're out in waves, you probably don't want to put all that pull on this string, so connecting the boogie boarders leash to the handle is more appropriate. If you're out in the big waves, like when I went for the Nazaré trip, I went for a different style leash altogether. I went for a big, long, 12-foot thick leash. This is a Dakine Piahi leash, and it's a big, chunky leash. It's a real long, thick leash, and I've connected that, that would be on my leg as I'll be wearing it, and it has a release pin here as well, so if I got stuck and I need to pull it off of me, I don't have to undo the Velcro, I can just pull the pin out. And I've connected that to the tail of the board just here. So I've been through a few different things. I've tried some different stuff since I started jet surfing with how to attach the leash to the board. And what I will say is, really don't ever connect it to any of these bolts that are for the foot strap. The bolts that go straight into the board, the bolts that have them captive nuts up on the other underneath of the board to secure them. Don't connect any leash to those, because I think you're just looking to cause yourself a big problem where you end up where the captive nut that goes up on the underneath of the board was going to break away from the board, and you're going to be stuck in a situation where it's really difficult for you to change your foot pads and foot straps. So stay away from those ones. What I've done is I connected it here to the screw for the side fin. So there's a side fin there, and as it goes up to the top of the board, you've got the screw which look like them, and I've put onto that screw a connector here which is stainless steel connector, and I've attached the leash to this stainless steel connector on the board. The two screws here, it seems to be, this might vary a little bit from one JetSurf to another, but typically the one that's at the back of the board, your board is thinner here than what it is here. So you probably find that the screw for the where the board is bigger, further up the board, is actually longer than the screw for the one closer to the tail of the board. And I've got a couple of different screws here to show you as an example. So that's the difference there, those two sort of sizes in screws from one to another. So what I would do is I would have a different screw, a screw that's as long as the big screw, and I would put it in the back screw with this extra washer on the top and this connector for the leash here. So if you go out and buy yourself a longer screw, obviously looking to get the correct one. You're obviously looking also to make sure it's stainless steel, otherwise you're going to make a big rusty mess of your board if you don't. And then you would need this connector as well. So I hope that's helpful and useful. Obviously if you are going out in the surf and there's other surfers around, you've got to be pretty careful with how long your leash is. You don't need a big, long, huge leash if you're going somewhere, particularly if it's busy, you know, and in all fairness, you don't actually want to be close to other surfers anyway. You shouldn't really be riding in a way where you're going to fall off of your board so close to a surfer or anyone else that's in the water. But you don't need a huge long decline PRE leash like this if you are going to be just surfing in some small waves. And in fact, something like this Boogie Boarders leash is probably quite sufficient. You might even use that. You might even use one of them attachments and prefer to wear something like that and connect it to your leg. That's one possibility. Now, thanks for watching. Just made a few short videos. I'm just keeping each video on topic. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, or any suggestions. Always interesting to hear other people's ideas and what you're doing. Thanks for watching.